So the question is, how does Putin's popularity stack up against other world leaders? For that, I talked to Daniel Treisman, political science professor at the University of California, Los Angeles.
Well, he really has very little competition in that regard. His ratings these days are far above Cameron's or definitely Obama's. Angela Merkel of Germany is still around his level. But the latest opinion poll that I saw had Putin at 72% approval, which I think would beat even Merkel.
Back when Bill Clinton was running for president at a top aide, James Carville famously said, "It's the economy, stupid." And I think the same four words apply to Putin's popularity as you break down the background as to why he's doing so well.
Right. Really, since he first came to power in late 99, early 2000, the economy in Russia has been the central pillar sustaining his extraordinarily high popularity ratings. And the economy was growing at a rate of about 7% a year for the first 8 years that he was in charge. So it's really understandable that the Russian public would have felt some gratitude to a leader who presided over that. Now, more recently, the economy has looked much more vulnerable. Growth rates have come down a lot, and the last year or so, growth rates have been steadily falling quarter by quarter. So it raises the question whether the economy will continue to do well enough to sustain his popularity, and I think he's concluded that probably it won't.
Well, I want to get back to the economy in a moment, but I'd like to ask you, how does this latest standoff in Crimea either burnish or hurt Putin's standing there in the country?
Well, there's been an immediate, quite large rally behind him. But if we look at past experience, similar events have led to this kind of rally behind the flag, but it has faded fast. And within about 6 months or so, his ratings have always fallen down to where they were before or even lower.
So then the next question, you mentioned the economy. Can the sanctions have an impact on the economy and therefore also hurt his popularity, would you say?
I think that's very likely to happen. The sanctions themselves may have some impact, but perhaps even more significant is the climate of uncertainty that he's created for investors. And I think that'll weigh down the growth rate. Some people are now talking about a growth rate of 0 this year or even negative. And I think that will have a direct effect on his ratings.
Daniel, we're just about out of time, but one more quick question. I know you wrote the book, The Return, back in 2011, talking about this journey that Russia's been on since the days of Gorbachev to pretty much present day. How does Putin figure into this journey?
Well, I think we have to start thinking about two Putins. There was the Putin from 2000 until a few weeks ago, and now there seems to be a new Putin. The Putin of the past 14 years was cautious, pragmatic, unhappy with many things the West did, but nevertheless cooperative in a lot of ways. The new Putin that seems to be emerging is a much angrier person with really far fewer ideas about cooperation with the West and with a great deal of resentment, and also somebody who is quite shielded from the views of many of his country people, who is being advised by a fairly narrow group of aides, many from the security services, and so who may be getting just a little bit out of touch at this point.
Daniel Treisman joining us from Los Angeles. Thank you so much for your observations.